2018 Harry Stack Sullivan Prize in Counseling Psychology is being awarded to Reverend Dr. Felix Unichi, a student in the Doctor of Philosophy in Pastoral Psychology degree program. Reverend Dr. Unichi's doctoral thesis is entitled Child Abuse and Neglect in Nigerian Families, Diagnosis of Developmental Outcome and Suggested Remedies. Thank you, Father.
Life is all about experience. If you have not had any experience in life, you will not have anything to share with others. I'm a Catholic priest, a Roman Catholic priest, ordained in August 21st, 1993, for the Catholic Diocese of Olo, Nigeria. I spent 18 years of my ministry in Nigeria, working as a pastor in different parishes in the diocese, where actually I came into contact with a lot of children because I was in charge of the Block Rosary for 10 years. The Block Rosary is the devotion we give to Mary, to gather all children to come to you. So I know the smells of children. So when they come to me, I know their language. I was working with them in Nigeria. So before I came to the United States in August 19, 2011, to begin my studies, I studied guidance and counseling at the Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California, where I got my master's. I completed the studies in 2013 and earned the master's degree. During my studies in Los Angeles, I lived in residence in 2 parishes. In one of them, I was in charge of the rites of Christian initiation of adults, RCIA, and adult confirmation. I did a lot of work there, and the people I came into contact with, they were so happy. And I was known for the inspiring reflections I used to write in the parish bulletin every Sunday. People were so happy about that. And on a very happy note, I will be 25 years in the priesthood this year, in August this year. So I'll be celebrating my Silver Jubilee. So in 2015, I entered for the Doctor of Philosophy degree program in Pastoral Psychology in the Graduate Theological Foundation here in Indiana, which I completed in 2017. And we're talking about my thesis. Okay, before then, I worked with teenagers with special needs. Some of them are victims of abuse. So I've learned a lot from them, from the way they live their lives and what happened to them. It's a very horrible experience, which if you haven't encountered such people, you will not know what it means to be abused. And so my thesis, Child Abuse and Neglect in Nigerian Families, Diagnosis and Developmental Outcome and Suggested Remedies, was supervised by Dr. Morgan, John Morgan. We missed him today, so I would have loved to see him today because he did a very good work with me. And I was motivated because I was born during the period in my country when Nigeria was going through severe crisis, the crisis of the Civil War. During that time, as a toddler, I was 3 years when the war started. As a toddler, I had to go through a lot of problems, psychological problems resulting from the war, especially after the war in 1970. Many children and women suffered terribly from hunger and sickness. And so all those things motivated me, and a lot of other things that happened along the way of my priesthood from the time I was born. And so we know that child abuse and neglect is a global problem. Everybody knows that. In fact, when I started writing this, one priest told me Are you ready to face the wrath of your superiors in talking about abuse, knowing what is going on today about abuse? I said, I have no problem. I have to be objective in what I'm writing. Whatever I put down is what I have seen and what I have known. And so I decided to treat the nature of this phenomenon of abuse and neglect in Nigeria, its socio-political, socio-economic, and psychological consequences, and make some thoughtful recommendations. Among other definitions, I chose the one of the World Health Organization, WHO, which summarily defined the phenomenon as any form of exploitation that results in actual or potential harm to the child's health, development, or dignity. Children below the age of 18 years experience maltreatment in multiple forms, which have been classified under these four phenomena: physical abuse in form of corporal punishment and a lot of other things, sexual abuse, inappropriate behavior towards these children, emotional or psychological abuse, which is the idea of demeaning a child or putting down the child, and neglect, abandonment, or denial of essential needs of life. I discussed that in Nigeria, factors related to child-parent caregiver, which is intrapsychic problem, because I developed three theories about this. The first theory is intrapsychic problem. The second one, the social situational model. And the third one, the socio-psychological problem. And then the factors related to child or parent caregiver, which is within the realm of intrapsychic problem. Then the family, environment, culture, religion, ethnicity, which is within the realm of the social situational model. And poor economy and politics, within the realm of the social psychological problem, place a Nigerian child at risk of maltreatment. The stress arising from family dysfunction and poverty, the neglect and attachment issues, cultural and religious crisis define these three theories. The outcome of the maltreatment can become more severe as a child grows older and can encompass multiple areas, including physical development, intellectual or cognitive development, emotional or psychological development, and social or behavioral development. If interventions do not occur at all or occur late, the victims could suffer from deficiencies throughout their lives. The key issues involved in child abuse and neglect in Nigeria can be summarized under these two factors: socio-economic, which is poverty problem, and illiteracy. The negative outcome of these problems includes child labor, which forces children to do certain jobs that endanger their lives; street wandering, which has the propensity for juvenile delinquency; prostitution by underage children who are unable to give informed consent; corporal punishment and abandonment, which is neglect. The psychological implications of child maltreatment in Nigeria results from disruption of neurodevelopmental process in children. Neurological impairments may be caused by imbalances in brain chemistry due to exposure to stressful life experiences like maltreatment and poverty. Low intellectual quotient, IQ, causes truancy, thereby increasing the rate of illiteracy, child labor, early marriage, and child prostitution. This project calls on the states, because when all these things were happening, they put the ECOWAS, the World Health Organization, and the national body, the international bodies, they called for special acts to tackle the problem of child abuse in sub-Saharan Africa. And then they come up with this Child Rights Act from the Nigerian government. And this act was passed into law by the then administration of Olusegun Obasanjo in the states, in all the states. But some states refused to oppress that, or to put it into practice, to operate on it. Because, especially the states in the northern part of Nigeria, where we have a majority of Muslims. The reason being that some of the things in the acts, especially pertaining to ages of marriage, runs contrary to what Muslims believe about age in marriage. So it is very, very difficult for them to put this into practice. And if you come to Nigeria now, these are the only states that have refused to let this law run. In other states, they are being operated so that children can be saved from all the embarrassments, they are receiving and all the problems. And so the project calls on these states, to put the laws into practice so that the children can be protected from further harm. And then my thesis also discusses the role of the church and the role of schools, the communities, and other non-governmental organizations, which the project enumerated. And from the point of view of this thesis, relating it to what I do as a priest, I know that it is relevant to the work I do because I'm a priest, being a Catholic priest. I'm placed in charge of the pastoral care of souls, as we know it as traditionally understood. I'm also a pastoral counselor with science-based training. And I will be assigned to a faith community. If I go back to Nigeria now, definitely I will work either in the parish or in a school setting. I have to work to be assigned to a faith community that is made up of families struggling with both spiritual and psychological issues that may include child maltreatment. And the effective integration of sound psychology and basic spiritual truths bring about care and treatment for individuals and families who have sought out care and nurture from within the faith community. Actually, when I was discussing this with the group community, I think she asked the question where is the status quo of the problem? Where does this problem, has it been solved? I said the problem is far from being solved because of the economic problems going on in Nigeria, because nobody is talking about child abuse in Nigeria. What we are talking about now is what to do to get something to eat, because people are hungry. And so when people are hungry, there is no room for child abuse, even though they will be doing that without knowing. So the problem now is the economic situation in Nigeria. If that economic situation problem can be solved, then definitely government will pay attention to that. But despite that, there are some social organizations, non-governmental organizations that have set up, the machinery, for pursuing the program. And everybody is talking about it, including priests. Nobody is keeping quiet. And in the thesis, I raised up some useful suggestions, to avoid that. If the judiciary can do their work, if the priests can do their work, if teachers can do their work, definitely the problem will be solved. And finally, I want to thank Dr. John Morgan because he was the person who moderated this, and he did. I'm so happy about him. And then with the entire GTF community, especially the president, I thank you so much for everything, for the disposition you have given. We have a friendly environment with GTF, and that has been guiding us in what we do. Thank you so much, and may God bless all of you.